own those mistakes and then realise what they are and create something better. There's
learn,
and say own it. Don't just put products out there because you need to, because there's liquid in the tank. If you're not happy with it, it's got to go down the drain. It's got to.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Beer Rep Chats With, and proudly sponsored by the Keg Warehouse. And today I am delighted to be joined by founder of Swallow Brew Co, Ross Gandon. Ross, thank you for joining the show. It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, so you're based in Folkestone, I believe.
We're a bit of a secluded, bit of a private location, so we're keeping it under wraps. But we are on the periphery of Folkestone at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. So where did the idea for Swallow Brew Co come about, and what made you think that this is the right time to launch the brewery?
Well, actually, we moved premises personally, and we actually moved into a quite a nice place with stables, so we're quite fortunate there. Although they're dilapidated, they were full of swallows. And we just had, a year of actually taking stock of our lives and relaxing and enjoying the space, which hasn't really happened. We've always been really sort of 100 miles an hour. And we were in the throes of creating a new brewery anyway, and I wanted something that's slightly tongue-in-cheek, and it just fitted the bill, and it was beautiful to see these things as they are. They've literally just come back from South Africa now. I think we've just seen our first one yesterday. So, yeah, nature lovers and beer lovers, and it just kind of worked.
Yeah. I love seeing the birds. We're getting quite a lot of birds coming outside in our garden as well.
Yeah.
I saw a jaybird recently.
Nice.
So I've never actually seen one of them in the wild, and they're not very common around here. But yeah, that was pretty cool to see. So what was you doing before Swallow? And what did it influence the brewery at all?
It did actually. Yeah. So I've been involved with a few breweries in one professional capacity or another. And from starting quite small, it was tough. It was properly tough. I mean, Angels and Demons. Unfortunately, we lost the battle in COVID. Coming out of COVID, it was really hard for everyone. Everyone knows that. This isn't a new story. But unfortunately, we couldn't sustain it, and we pumped so much money into it, and it was losing a lot of money. So we kind of learned from those mistakes. We started again. And McCann's brewery, which bought Twisted Will as well from up north, was doing really well in COVID. So they're over in another location in Tenterton, big host, big investment. And Keith's now running that, who was then my business partner. He's now running it. He's taking the reins on that. And best of luck to him, because he's a great guy and they've got great products, and he spent a lot of time and money, to be perfectly open with you. So I really, really hope it works. But for me, it was getting too big. It was beyond me, and it was time to step away. And, as much as it was a hardship, because McCann's is my mum's maiden name and it was kind of a big thing. To be honest with you, if it succeeds, I'm really proud of that. And being part of that was, I'd be delighted for the guys over there. So best of luck to them. And hopefully we'll do a collaboration at some point with either Twisted Will or McCann's or Angels and Demons, because they've got a lot over there now. So that's kind of where I've been. That's kind of my journey. And going back into what felt like homebrew after being on a 45 barrel kit. We've now got an 8 barrel kit with a small kit called R2D2, which gets us to about 10 barrels. So I'm loving it, to be honest. It's great. I'm having loads of fun. Joe, who was our original brewer from Angels and Demons, he comes and gets involved sometimes. And honestly, it just feels like we're in pots and pans again in the kitchen with my other half, pulling her hair out because we're making such a mess in the kitchen. It feels like that again. It feels fun. And that was always the intention in the first place. We tried to make it professionally work, and it is hard. I mean, for anyone out there, they know the deal. It is hard. Yeah. So we're kind of on the cusp of that again, but as I say, having fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think having fun is the main thing, isn't it? If you're not enjoying it anymore, then it's you kind of have to question, am I doing this? Why am I doing this still?
Yeah.
And what's the reason why it's not fun no more? And
exactly.
if you're scaling back and doing things that you enjoy, and that's the way to go, isn't it? I suppose for you.
And it allows us to be freer with the ingredients. So sort of touching on this base before we started recording, the way we operate is essentially our brew house is twice the size of all of our fermenters. And we've done that on purpose because every brew day we can do about 1,500 litres. We split that out. So if we've got different ideas, different sets of hops or whatever, there's loads of things you can do. It's endless, of course it is. So we end up with 2 new beers every time. And we do learn from some of the beers that we've been producing, and we probably will produce something similar, but we're not going to do those again. It keeps it really fresh and it keeps it craft. We're not Heineken and we don't want to be. We want to actually enjoy this ride. And so this time round, we're going to do exactly just that. We've got 2 main beers, Head, which is our Austrian style Pilsner, and Blackwing is just coming out. That's our answer to Guinness. And we will brew them fully every time. So it'll be 1,500 litres of Head, 1,500 litres Blackwing. Yeah, fair enough. All the others, they're always going to change. So you're always going to be expecting to see something completely fresh on the taps, whether it's in our place or hopefully further afield with other clients.
Yeah, so them 2 are your core range beers that you'll continuously brew all year round.
Yes.
It's quite surprising that you haven't got an IPA or a pale because, that's quite unusual to have a Pilsner and a Stout rather than an IPA. So that's interesting. What was your decision on that?
Well, again, from all of experience, the very first beer we launched, which was probably wrong, was Hockley Soul. That was just a stout. It wasn't a nitro stout, but it was a fantastic beer. And we were told at the time, there's no way on earth, as a craft brewery, you can have a full-time stout. It's something I like to drink. I love Dublin. I love going over to see my family in Ireland. And I'm not going to knock Guinness. I don't. It's not the most flavoursome stout you're ever going to find, but it's really consistent and it's just an easy drinker. And the amount of laughs I've had around that stuff, I have to say. So we kind of still want to keep that vibe going, but ours has got a little bit more of a hit to it. Same strength, but it's utterly wonderful, I think. So we're sticking with that, sticking with our guns, and maybe down the line we might do a pale, but at the moment all the pales, they're just so much fun to constantly interact with and do something new with. So that's kind of where we're at. And the Pilsner, it outstrips every beer we've made 2 to 1, to be honest with you, because if you're a lager drinker and there's 1 or 2 lagers in the bar, it's going to go through. Simple as that. So
it's a popular style of beer, isn't it? With punters. So the story behind the name Swallow, obviously we already touched, is to do with birds.
Yeah.
Was there any names beforehand that you was coming up with before you decided on Swallow?
There were. There were some horrendous names, and some people might think Swallow's horrendous, but we love it. There were. I'm not going to go into them because we were maybe going a bit too tongue in cheek, but Swallow has just kind of hit the mark. To be honest with you, it's not pushing the boundaries, but also it's I was in a band for a long time when I was younger, much younger, I want to sort of incorporate that sort of energy from the sort of rock side of things that we had. So we've got a tattoo vibe with the swallows, a traditional sailor art tattoo. That's all going on. So again, just having fun with it, and I think it's working really well at the moment.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great little logo. I love.
Thank you.
It's unusual. Yeah, really like it. So you launched at a time where costs were high, market's tough. What made you think it was still the right time to launch Swallow? Obviously, you said you was part of Angels and Demons, and that kind of went away because of COVID. Things haven't really improved much after COVID in regards to help for small independent breweries like yourself. So what was there?
I think it's a kind of, if it's in you, it's in you, right? It's of
course.
We know that we're not going to make loads of money at it, but we know that we're going to make a lot of smiles. And that's kind of a bigger part of my life now. I'm trying to get a bit more of a life balance. And for some reason, I've come back to brewing as that's going to provide me some sort of life balance. I don't know why. Maybe I've got that wrong, but at the moment it feels right. And yeah, I'm working a lot closer to home. I'm involved with a couple of other businesses, so I'm fortunate to have some sort of income coming in as well. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having a conversation. But at the moment, yeah, it's one step at a time, obviously. But it just felt right, you know.
It's the passion, isn't it? The passion.
It is, yeah. You can't just remove that. You know, I picked up a guitar the other day and that felt right, but it's definitely not right, I have to say.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm done a bit of music producing myself, and as much as I love producing music, it's not something I'm going to be able to further myself into make an income, you know. So it's become a hobby and something I occasionally do on the side when I've got a bit of spare time. But
nice.
I know what you mean there.
Well, I mean, it's good to have hobbies, and this happened to be one of my hobbies in the first place. So just going back to the roots on that one, really, and I'm going to let my son overtake me on the rock and roll famedom, because he's now an incredible drummer, just about to hopefully hit music college. And so, yeah, I'll let him show me up on that one, I think, happily.
You can even jam together, a bit of guitar and a bit of drums.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, exactly that. Why not?
Yeah.
And so, we'll come over and you can produce it for us. How's that?
Well, I might be able to master it. Yeah, and
I'll bring a 6-pack.
Sounds like a plan. So you said you started as a home brewer as well. I mean, how long was you home brewing for?
Admittedly, I wasn't really even homebrewing. I think I was just drinking more of the products that Joe was coming over for about, 6 months to a year. Joe was homebrewing for years. He'd won all sorts of homebrew competitions and this, that, and the other. In fact, he'd done a beer with Sam at Time and Tide. I don't know if you know Time and Tide.
Yeah, no, Time and Tide, yeah.
Yeah, nice guys. But yeah, so Sam or Joe done a bit of work with those guys for a while. And I think they produced a beer together. But yeah, lovely guys. I think, it was a long time ago now. It's probably about, crikey, it's got to be 15 years ago, I'm guessing, for Joe. So yeah, Joe was brewing for a long time and he had a lot of experience. I went into a homebrew shop, spoke to the guy in Faversham, actually. Is there anyone you know that knows how to brew beer? Because I'm absolutely terrible. And I kind of want to know what I'm up to. And he went, yeah, this guy. And anyway, I phoned Joe up. And it was probably one of the most difficult conversations I've ever had in my life, because he's not a big speaker when you first meet Joe. And it was a kind of, hi, I've been given your number by the guy in Faversham Homebrew. Yeah. Okay. I hear you're a home brewer and you're looking to expand. Yeah. Okay. It's kind of that sort of conversation.
A man of many words.
Yeah. But I tell you what a guy. He's incredible and love spending time with him. And to be honest with you, I think that's why he's coming over now to do a bit of brewing, because we just get to spend a bit of time and have a laugh. And it's, again, going back to that sort of point, it's a real special thing to be able to do that. Go to work in a 8-10 hour day, get covered in all sorts of goodness and have a good crack. So yeah, we're achieving it at the moment.
And the smells are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I do love about brewing beer. The smell is beautiful. So what's the hardest reality, do you think, of starting a brewery that people kind of don't see?
Well, profit margins. I mean, it's just, it is incredibly difficult. It's kind of, at this level, you have to wear like 15 hats. You really do. You can't have salesman, dre, packaging guys, this, that, and you are those people. So it's kind of making some brutal decisions this time round. We're doing keg. We will do can. We're not doing it at the moment. I haven't got that specifically nailed, so I'm not ready for that. We've got a system, but again, that needs improving. But it's that, and we're sending it out on one-way traffic. That's it. We're not delivering. We haven't got a dray. So if it's local, then that I mean local as well. Spitting distance. We'll run it out to you, of course we will. But it can't. It just doesn't work at this level for me. Now it can do. Don't get me wrong. People have managed to get over the line, but it is such a difficult task. And the scale that we're at, which is tiny in the grand scheme of things. I can do that. I can sort the orders out. I can do some of the artwork. We can get involved with it. The more I can do myself, the more it feels like me as well. There's a lot more of my heart goes into it. So which is a good thing. Well, some might say it's a bad thing. I don't know, but I think it looks okay. When we get to a point when we can start taking somebody on, definitely want to take a brewer on. Of course, I want to do that. But at the moment, again, it's just going to take so much away from what I'm trying to achieve with it that it just wouldn't work. And it's just the cost of that. It starts going up really quick, and now almost it's unaffordable. So then the next stage is trying to upscale. All right, we've got to get bigger so we can pay for this guy and we can have this drayman, and now we've got to get a van, and that's finance, and whoa, it starts getting immediately, and then somebody's come out with a new gadget that does this thing in the brewery, and now you have to have that. You don't. I'm here to tell you, you don't.
I love a gadget.
Yeah, I mean, I love a gadget, but but you know what I mean. A gadget in a brewery is thousands of pounds. You know what I mean?
And is it really going to do much difference?
Well, this is it. This is part of my journey. This is what I'm trying to realise. I think we can produce top quality beers that will sit easily in the modern market, no problem at all. On the pretty paltry system I've got. Now, don't get me wrong, it's decent, it's clean, it's tidy. We've got really good fermenters, but we haven't got all the trinkets, hop rockets and this, that, and the other. We're not doing that. We're just keeping it real simple, clinical. And what can we produce? What's the best beer that we can produce with these tubs? And that's where we're at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you do what's right for yourself and the brewery. And I think a lot of places could probably expand a bit too quickly. And
100%.
And so, you're quite new. You've got a new name. Yes, you've worked in other breweries before, but the name's new. So it's going to take a while to get that name out there. And yeah, if anyone who's listening right now, please check out Swallow Brew Co. Check out their beers.
Thank you.
And so obviously the styles of beers that you're brewing as well, your core range, you've got your Pilsner, you've got your Stout, which is based on Guinness. And then you're doing your one-off specials for your Pales and your IPAs. What sort of hops are you using for your Pales and your IPAs? Are you going more traditional UK hops? We're not, to be honest with you. We're stepping away from that market, I have to say. We may use it for a bittering hop, but we're not using a lot of bitter. We're going slightly on the sweet side, East Coast Pales, New England IPAs. We're going to do a Westie. We haven't touched that yet. But with New Zealand Pale, I've got one called I Broke My Nose on the Garden Hose. That's going really well. Our first beer was called Does Your Sounds like a story there.
There's always a story, mate, I can tell you. But yeah, we've released quite a few with odd names, and we're going to continue to do that, going down the fun route. But yeah, the Pales, we've got hops from all over the world. We've got access to all of the hops that we want. So, they're readily available in small batches now. It's not 10 years ago, you had to sign huge contracts and it was, ridiculous. But nowadays you don't have to do that.
It's more accessible, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I'm enjoying the new stuff that's coming out, all the experimental stuff. So we're getting little tasters of that. And because we're not doing it as a repeat beer, it doesn't matter. If we can't get it again, well, so be it. We'll move on to the next one because there's always going to be something else. But if we were doing that as this is our Pale, this is this, we would be in trouble. You'd have to then start looking at bigger investments into hop contracts. Again, I don't want the risk. I don't want the risk to start overwhelming the fun side, and it can do, and it has done. I've been there. And anyone listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about in the brewing world. So I'm keeping it as simple as I can, and the more simple we can keep it, we'll step it up one tiny lad, one prong at a time. Simple as that. We're not going to take massive strides. We don't want to. It's got to be a slow and gradual continuation.
Yeah, 100% agree there. If you can expand quicker, great. But if you want to take it slow and easy, then that's the way to go. You always go at the speed that you're comfortable with. And yeah. So you're based in Folkestone, Kent. What's the beer scene like over there? You know, what's access to market like as well?
Well, do you know what? It's actually it's starting to turn a corner. I think when we started, I think it was pretty dead, to be honest with you. But there's some cracking. I mean, Folkestone, I love it. I love Folkestone. Where there's so many fantastic little places now. Beer shop Folkestone Lee, great guy. Well, him and his wife, they're both wonderful. They're really into what they're doing. They create a fantastic atmosphere over there. You've got a new place, Ronnie and Rita's open up, and James, and Holly, I believe, James and Holly. They've literally, they'll be fantastic. They've got loads of these little outlets, and you know what I mean. It's not, it's not
like a micro pubs.
But yeah, exactly that, and yeah, they're all putting their little stamp on. Of course, you've got the Harbour Arm, which is, it's mad over there. You've got Flock over there who took our place when we had it as Angels and Demons. Again, really good at what they do, seriously good at what they do.
Yeah, Flock are one of my favourites.
I would say one of the best breweries in Kent, hands down. And I'm happy to say that because I think they deserve everything they get. And
100%.
Yeah, hats off to them for what they've achieved, like getting in with, the likes of Daya, and the list goes on. Let's face it, Beak, I believe they've just got one coming out with. I say, hats off to them. I'd love a bit of that. If I can ever get in with those guys, I'll definitely do something with them. But, I think that they've taken reins and they've run with it. They've done everything to the letter. They've pushed a few boundaries. They look edgy. They're sharp. The products are immaculate. What can I say? I say hats off to them. Best of luck. So they've got the main bar over at the Harbour Arm. I believe they've just opened the Lifeboat up in Margate. That was one of our old clients. And that looks great. The tap room, I regularly go there. If I'm going to Canterbury, I'm going to the tap room. Simple as that. Staff are always excellent, So, yeah, big up to those guys. They're fantastic. The scene's starting to happen. It's starting to move. And there are breweries popping up that are, worthy of calling themselves a modern maestro, and Twisted Will. Like I say, Keith, Twisted Will, some of the products that are coming out of McCann's and Twisted Will, absolutely superb. So, yeah, it's definitely starting to happen.
Awesome. And you've got your own tap room as well on site?
We've got, it's not on site. So our tap room's in the heart of Folkestone, Tontine Street. It's called the Blind Pig, which is a Prohibition reference, basically. So it's, 10 taps, cozy, always got music on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's generally rammed in there on the weekends, and probably not just for the beer. The atmosphere is wonderful. Tom, who runs the place, he is adorable, to be perfectly honest with you. And he's been around the block. He's been Chambers manager for a long time when Chambers was open under Chris Smith. And so, he's doing a job that he actually wants to do. How rare is that to find someone in hospitality that wants to be in hospitality? Rare. Yeah, you go to Dublin, you go to college for 3 years to become a bartender, and they're worlds apart, I'd say. But in England, generally, it's a kind of a stopgap, isn't it? Which is fair enough. Hospitality's tough, but it isn't something that a lot of people would choose to do as their primary their primary choice. They would choose to do something else. Yeah, but Tom, he nails it every week, and he's well into the music. He DJs as well. So yeah, it's a great spot. We're lucky to have it. I'd like it to be a bit bigger, but maybe on the next one we'll find that space as well.
Yeah. How important do you think a tap room is?
Hugely
for breweries,
hugely important. As we're just going out from the commercial side of things, as we're now starting to go out live, we're on Cellar. We're going to start taking clients down there. We're going to give them a spot of lunch and hit them with the beers. And where else can you do that other than in your own tap room? It's an outlet for your products directly. It makes utter sense. To be honest with you, I can't. It must be really hard to try and survive without a tap room, without your own offering. Everyone's doing it. Let's face it. There's a reason why, because it works. It's a big part of it.
It's hard to get your beers as well into pubs that are owned by pubcos, etc. So
exactly that. And there's
very few independent pubs around.
Absolutely. Dockers as well. I have to give them a shout. They're down in Park Farm Industrial Estate. They're next to Screwfix, and they've got a huge unit. And since they've started having people, you know, they've literally moved. I think it was a couple of years ago, maybe last year even. It was recent anyway. And they're doing great stuff. They had an event down there last weekend, and it was absolutely chock-a-block. I think it was 160 ticketed events sold out. So again, fair play. It's a massive thing to have your own tap room.
Would you say that's like the biggest advantage that like small independent breweries have over the big globals?
100%. Yeah. If there is an advantage that small independents have, you know, they're pretty rare to find. But you know, you look at Shepherd Neame. I don't want to knock them on air, but to be perfectly honest, they're the polar opposite of what I enjoy out of a beer. They haven't really changed. They're effectively just a huge landlord company. They own half of Faversham. Why did they start doing that in the first place? It was the only reason it worked in the first place is because you got an outlet to sell your wares, and as that grows,
exactly.
Yeah,
and that was where the whole beer orders, wasn't it, was brought into play because you had the big five globals in the UK at the time owning up X amount of pubs across the country. So they brought that into play and made it worse in my eyes. Now, not only have you got your big global foreign companies like Heineken, etc., you've now got a middleman with pub companies that are buying from them places, and it's made it worse. A lot worse than it used to be.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. So, what worries you about the industry right now? Is any? I mean, it's probably quite a few things. We could run off a good 10 at least. I
mean, crikey, you said it was going to take an hour, but I think we'll be turning this into an all-nighter.
We'll cut it down to just 3.
Well,
top 3.
I think, the competition is always a big thing, isn't it? You know, the hospitality, people are saying that there's no money about. There is money about. I think to be honest, I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing people saying all this, detrimental verbatim online, in the media. No, get everyone out. If everyone's got confidence to go and spend some money, we've got a country full of, littered now with incredible little breweries. That is one of the problems. I say that as I've just started a brewery, but there are a lot of breweries. And unfortunately, that normally means that one closes down and another one opens up. It's the same with the pub trade. Look at all the country pubs that can't make it anymore because, and quite rightly so, drink driving came in. That made a massive impact on the pubs in the villages. Again, quite rightly so. But there is a knock-on effect. People lose their jobs. Now people can go and have a pint, and that's basically it. So obviously they started developing. We're now basically a restaurant, So the wet trade was probably more like 75, 80, maybe even 90%. It's probably 50-50, if not 40-60 now. It's that disparate.
I think a lot of places are food-led, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So therefore, there's less opportunity there. So as much as we want these places to survive, otherwise we're not here either, that's a stark realisation that, the more they diversify, the less beer is potentially going to be consumed. Plus the fact that we've now got boutique gins and boutique this, that and the other. So it's almost like, gins being a sort of a 10-year thing. I thought rum was going to start coming through, actually. I thought that was going to make a leap of faith 5 years ago. But it will come through and then it will die off and then it'll be vodka and then it might be beer again. So I'm just hoping that our turn's going to be coming back in soon, basically.
I remember the big gin boom with all the different flavoured gins when they all started coming out. And everyone was just drinking gin, different flavoured gin, orange gin, pink gin, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a phase, and it has come and it's gone. Not many people are drinking them sort of flavoured gins anymore, not that I see anyway. And I think kind of with the beer, I think it's kind of happening with low and no alcohol beer.
Yeah,
I think that's becoming a new trend. How long it lasts for is anyone's guess, but it is growing year on year.
It's also
something you've looked into.
Yeah, it is, but it's also in the government's favour to promote low and no and say that this is actually what's happening. I don't see that in my bar. There are bars that want to serve all sorts of beers. Of course, we want to do an offering that will support that, but I can't see us being a six taps or 5 taps of low and no, and then 5 taps of go. You know, it's got to be. It's realistic. It's potentially a bit of a fad. Hats off to anyone that's doing good products out there. There are, I mean, Pomona Island. God, gee, have you tried their no alcohol? It is utterly
I'm not a lover
awesome.
of no alcohol, because I'm waiting until there's a day where I can taste a alcohol-free beer, and it tastes exactly the same as their flagship core range beer.
Yeah, keep dreaming, mate.
That body, I need that body.
Yeah.
I've spoken to people in the industry, yeast, within yeast and at WHC Labs. Spoke to Paul Malcolm from them, and there are things coming out to help with that body and mouthfeel in alcohol-free beers. But until that day comes, I don't think I'll be drinking alcohol-free beer.
Well, no, I mean, I had one last night because I'm trying to be good at the moment. We've been away, been fortunate to go on holiday recently, and it was a bit of an annihilation. So I'm trying to calm down a bit. That normally doesn't last too well, but there are products out there that are good. But I eat a lot of vegetarian food. But the new products that are coming out that are chicken fillets, but they're not chicken. It's not chicken, is it? It's not going to be chicken. It won't be chicken, and so.
I think the ones that do really well are the ones that you don't have to change much to in regards to body, i.e. lagers, for instance. There's no body in lagers. So when you're making an alcohol-free lager, you just got to make sure that the taste hits well. I.e., there's some breweries' beers that the original beer was quite thin-bodied and quite not much going on character-wise, hop character-wise, and they make an alcohol-free version of that, and it's pretty much similar to the original. Again, just because there's nothing much going on in the original. But when the Big Canolia is probably one of the best ones I've tried, I would say, alcohol-free wise. Really, really hop forward, really good hop character. Still, again, just need a bit more body to it when that comes around. If it comes around, who knows? But
No, so I'd like to think we might do something, but it's certainly not an energy I want to. It commands so much more of you. I think it's actually quite a difficult process. I mean, there's various ways to do it, but I don't think it's going to be for us straight away. I don't think so. Anyway, I'll leave it to the people
definitely.
that are really good at it. To be honest with you, then there's a good few out there.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll make you right. Yeah. So how do you think you can turn first-time drinkers into loyal fans of the brewery?
Good question. I mean, it's all about attitude towards it, and it's the whole package. So if you're into music, you're going to be, sort of the rock scene, for instance. Just to give you one example. If you're into that sort of tattoo vibe, we're creating a brand around that. Well, you're probably going to be a bit more loyal. That sort of thing. The products speak for themselves at the end of the day, don't they? And that goes for any product. I think we've got a good range, and we're going to have a massive range, to be perfectly frank, because of how we're going to produce the beers. We're constantly changing the beers.
Batching.
Exactly. I mean, we've got a red rye at the moment called Fat Spaniel, and that's flying out. And it's our second most popular beer. I'm staggered by that. I think it's delicious.
I love red IPA. Red IPAs are coming back. They are certainly coming back.
But you say that,
if there's one beer style that I want to see more of is red IPAs. I think they're beautiful.
Exactly. Well, but you say that. So this is a red rye IPA, 2 styles which, some people won't like that. And so therefore, for it to be our second best seller after Head Pilsner, it's quite surprised me. So we're going to do another one similar to that. And when that one's run out, we'll do probably another one. But it is a trend. Like you just said. Yeah, I was right into rye IPAs. I mean, that's kind of what got me into the craft beers, to be honest with you. You don't see them very often. And when you do see them, I don't think they're generally that good anymore. So
yeah, I'm definitely looking out for different styles of beers. I was big on the hazy IPAs, but now I want to try something different. I want to see more different varieties of styles of beers on the taps, rather than just 10 taps, 6 of them are IPAs or pales. in a lager. I want to see a bit more, you know.
Yeah, exactly that. We've got a Hefeweizen called Bloody Good Toast, which is I think it's really good. It's darker than a typical Hefeweizen, I have to say, but it's just looking at some of the products when I go to Austria a fair bit, and there's a 2.5 barrel brewery out there, Dorf farm called Strickerbier, and a little village called Holzgau, and that's the best Hefeweizen I've ever tried, and it's the best Helles I've ever tried as well. I mean, totally amazing. So I've kind of gone with what they do, and it's darker, you know. So so we've got that. We've got lots of different styles, and we're trying to sort of mix it up. As I say, we're going to do a Westie soon. It's not one I've done for a long time, to be honest with you. So yeah, we're going to more pie.
You're going to be traditional with it. High ABV.
I think so. Yeah. So at least high fives, maybe into the sixes. I'm not going to go mad with it to start with. We may even split that and do a baby brother or something, you know, a lighter one. So yeah, we're definitely going to play about with it. That's for sure. What else would you like to see? I'm asking you a question now. What would you like to see?
Oh gosh, no one's asked me a question before. This is my podcast. I don't know. Oh, it's so many. I do like a Helles. I love a Helles. One of my favourite lager styles. As like I said earlier, red IPAs. Again, one of my favourite styles.
Okay.
I do like a Belgian blonde if it's done nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
we've definitely got Helles on the cards. That's definitely going to happen. So yeah,
I'll be comparing you to the Augustina.
Okay, right. All right.
No pressure there.
I'm sure I've something palatable.
Helles are good. I mean, Augustina is obviously amazing, but there are some amazing beers out there that are obviously made by other breweries. There are other Helles available.
Of course.
So if you could collaborate with any brewery, who's getting the call?
Honestly, Flock, number one, and Pomona Island. Oh my God, I just love their stuff. And I'd love to do something with the boys over at Twisted Wheel. I think, just a bit of homage. They're kind of my three. There's a couple of locals that there's a chance that we're going to be doing something. Hop Fuzz, Daryl, I want to have a chat with him again about that. But yeah, I'm not going to go nuts with that to start with. But if I could get in with the guys at Flock or Pomona Island or Twisted Wheel, happy days, absolutely. Because I'd happily, go and dig out the mash tun for them and all of that. Because I just think they've hit it on the head. Totally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. So, if you weren't brewing beer, what would you be doing?
Goodness me. I do other things. I mean, I'm involved in the construction side of things and sort of less interesting stuff like air hygiene. So before we all fall asleep, we probably need to move on from that. No, it pays the bills at the end of the day, and it allows me to do this and keep this fun at the moment. And until such time that I can take it a bit the next step and plan more time and energy into it. But as I say, we're fortunate enough to be able to do this sort of slowly at a snail's pace and then build it really carefully, make the mistakes and learn from them really in short succession rather than big investment, big mistake. Oh my God, what are we going to do now? So probably though, to answer your question from a fun side of things, that is a good question, actually. I've never really considered what I feel like I want to do. I definitely want to be involved with the brewing. I would love to do something for my son, music-wise. I'd like to see him in a band and me being one of the annoying parents that takes the kids around and gets them in the studios and regales them of all the rock industry that I was never in anyway and all of that. But I'd love to do something with the kids, with Chili, my son. And because, I've got high hopes for his incredible talent and I'm sure he has as well.
That's awesome. That's a good answer. That's a good one. If you could do a Thanos moment, click your fingers, what would you change about the UK beer scene?
Wow. I can't stand the fact that we've got all these beers that get launched with massive money, and I'm not going to mention them, and then
You
5
can
minutes.
mention them. It's fine.
Well, like Madry is a prime example, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Let's mention them. I'm not endorsed by any of them, so.
This beer came out of nothing, and then it'll be dropped for the next M with a different, slightly, just sick and tired of it. But if that's what people want, that's what people want. But it's not what the craft industry wants, is it? So
yeah, how do you,
there's plenty of room for us.
How do you think we change it? Like, what do you think is needed to change everyone's perception that drinking these crap beers is the way to go?
Support from the government, support from the people that that we're part of this nation. They should support the small man rather than just the massive conglomerate that doesn't even probably pay half the tax in this country. I think it's government led, isn't it? Everything really goes back to the big G. And if we get support, we're going to have more freedom to do more interesting advertising, and there's always going to be advertising that's interesting and fun stuff from any craft movement in any regard. Of course there is, but it does get quelled. It gets quashed very easily by big boys with lots of massive wallets. At the end of the day, simple as that, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100% right. There's so much that we can say. Whether it gets done or not is a different matter. I spoke to Ash, the chairman of CAMRA, recently. Got that episode coming out on the 13th of April about what they're doing to try and convince the government that an access to market review is needed and why it's needed. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you've got a Society of Independent Brewers as well that are doing all they can to back the small independents as well. But there's also other trade organisations that are not all for independent breweries and stuff, i.e. the BBBA. They've obviously got their members there, and the BII. So it's about coming together and trying to come to a common solution, I suppose, to what's best for everyone.
It's good to. I think CAMRA's sort of changed their stance a bit. Maybe they had to, the likes of SEBA coming through the ranks and that sort of thing. I think it's good, that they've upped the ante, I think, for craft movement. And again, more for the sticking together. Like you said, we don't need to be pushing apart from each other to make this work. There's room for everyone. There really is. And I didn't want Beavertown to be taken over by Heineken.
I didn't either.
When I first had a pint of neck oil, it was in Dill in Taproom there, quite a while ago. And it was cloudy. It was lovely. It was a cracking pint. And then Logan sold out effectively to Heineken, which I understand why. We're talking big numbers there, but it doesn't make it it's not the same product. As simple as that. It's crystal clear now, and it gets sold in its millions with Heineken. Of course it does. Yeah. So isn't that proof that marketing budget is so immeasurably large? That it changes.
Well, of course, because he had Beavertown had a massive marketing budget, didn't they? So it just goes to show that if a small independent has got that money behind them, they can get the name out there, and people will drink it because it was. It was unique. It was, clicky. The artwork was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And it just goes to show that, how powerful marketing can be. And where, independent breweries haven't got the money to match that, unfortunately.
No, that's right.
So last question of the day. It's been absolutely amazing having you on. And
I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
I've had a good old chin wag and a good laugh. It's been good. So the last question is, if you could go back and give yourself one bit of advice before you started Swallow Brew Co, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. Do you know what? When I first went up to some lectures up in Leek, talking to you about this pre the show, one of the lecturers stood up there in a very straight face and he said, whatever you do, don't start brewing. And everyone went, chortles around the room. And he went, no, whatever you do, don't start brewing. And I don't want to wane to that. I want to I want to honestly take the advice of one step at a time, make the mistakes and be proud of those mistakes. And I've made plenty of them, in terms of all sorts of things, to be honest with you. But own those mistakes and then realize what they are and create something better. There's learn, and I say own it. Don't just put products out there because you need to, because there's liquid in the tank. If you're not happy with it, it's got to go down the drain. It's got to.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've seen so many beers go out from different breweries that that they know that isn't good. But of course they're in such difficult financial turmoil half the time that they kind of have to take that chance. But it really damages the brand. So if it's not good enough, definitely that. If it's not good enough, it's going down the drain. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the only way forward.
Yeah, that's a perfect note. I've tried so many beers on taps on breweries, and the beer wasn't up to scratch. And your first impression, if it's your first impression of a brewery as well, you're drinking that one particular beer that's not, quite cut it. That's the impression you're going away with, and then you kind of, if you see their beers on again, you tend not to go and try them because you think, I had one of their beers and it was horrible.
It wasn't
even though they might have improved further down the line, their beers might be absolutely amazing. But that one impression that you had 1-2 years ago is going to stop you from drinking their beers again. It's
totally true. Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah.
And you never know who your punters are. You've got one guy that's in there or guy or girl that's might be utterly obsessed with beers, and they have one beer and they go and tell all of their flock of people, don't drink that. It is utter nonsense. It's terrible. So it's knock-on effect, isn't it? It's massive.
Or word of mouth is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah. I think we'll do a bit called word of mouth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got to name it. Collaboration with the Beer Rep Chats with. We'll do it.
100%, mate. Nice one.
Well, it's been amazing having you on, Ross, mate. I've really enjoyed chatting to you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
I wish you all the best for Swallow Brew Co. Please, everyone listening, check out their socials and their beers if you ever get out to Folkestone. All the links will be in the description in the bio below. Once again, Ross, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Martin. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, it's been great, mate. And we'll see everyone back in a couple of weeks. Until then, see you later.